Hello and welcome to the Discover Dayton podcast, the show that's all about the Gem City's past, present, and future. I'm your host, Arch Grieve, and today is Friday, June 10th, 2022, which means this is your weekly news roundup episode, where I read the news so you don't have to. A lot has happened in the past week, including some local Dayton organizations receiving state funding, Dayton getting a new state senator next year who it never voted for, and a troubling statistic for local letter carriers. There's also a lot happening in the coming days that you're going to want to hear about, so stay tuned for your weekly news roundup episode, which starts in just a moment. And now for last week's news. Well, Welcome Stadium is getting an $11 million renovation, which Dayton Public School officials say they hope will help make it a more attractive venue for other state and national athletic events. The stadium opened in 1949 and had its last renovation in 2008, which was around $3 million. While the project won't be completed for over a year, DPS does expect to have new turf, track, and lighting to be ready in time for fall games this year. One addition is going to be a new Hall of Fame of past DPS athletes. The groundbreaking took place this past Wednesday, and the renovations have already begun. Well, the Greater Dayton RTA has announced that 10 lines that were suspended during the COVID-19 pandemic will be permanently canceled, while 11 others are being reconfigured. The move comes as the RTA is facing a driver shortage and decreased ridership. Affected bus routes include routes 3, 5, 23, 24, 64, 65, 66, X1A, X1B, and X5. Starting later this fall, however, the RTA will be switching from having separate bus route schedules for weekdays versus weekends to having the same schedule every day for their bus routes. There are also currently 50 job openings for bus drivers, and today from 7 to 11 a.m. and tomorrow from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the University of Dayton Arena, there will be a job fair for people who are interested in applying, where you can apply to become a big bus driver, which requires a CDL, or a small bus driver, which does not. The coolest thing, though, about the event is that you can actually have an opportunity to drive one of the buses, so I may end up going and applying too. Who knows? Visit iRideRTA.org for more information. And speaking of busing and Dayton Public Schools, DPS is reversing a previous decision to end the practice of giving RTA passes to high school students and is now saying that high school students will in fact be receiving RTA passes to get to school. DPS also explained that because high school students will no longer receive busing from DPS, they can attend any school within the district and are not bound by the quadrant system that's in place for elementary and middle schools, where students must attend schools that are within the quadrant in which they live. If you have questions about busing, you can call the Student Enrollment Center at 937-542-5555. Well, if you're flying out of Dayton International Airport anytime soon, just be warned, the airport recently had an airfare hike that was not only among the highest in the country, it is the highest price hike in the country. The study comes from cheapair.com and finds that on average, Dayton Airport flyers are paying 42% more per ticket than last year, which averages out to $109 per flight. The increase comes as part of a trend of smaller airports increasing their rates across the country. After seeing demand drop during the pandemic, it's been on the rise recently, but airlines are struggling to find people for the reopened positions that were cut during the pandemic. Well, one thing I did not realize until I was reading a Dayton Daily News story earlier this week was that once the redistricting changes go into effect next year, most of Dayton will have a new state senator who it didn't vote for, which will be State Senator Niraj Antani. This is due to the fact that the majority of what is now Senator Stephen Huffman's district is being transferred to Niraj Antani's, although only until new maps can be drawn up for the 2024 election. However, if Dayton is redistricted once more to another district that does not have a senator up for re-election, it's possible Dayton could go 8 years without being able to vote for their state senator. Antani is a very conservative Republican state senator from Miamisburg who has the distinction of being the state's first Indian American senator in Ohio history. And in related news, the Ohio Statehouse has passed a bill funding $3.5 billion in state capital projects, with $18.6 million of that funding going to Montgomery County. Of that, $1.7 million will go towards projects at Central State, Wright State, and the University of Cincinnati. The biggest recipient by far, however, is Sinclair Community College, which, for the sake of full disclosure, is where I also work part-time. Sinclair, though, is getting $13 million, with $5 million going towards advanced manufacturing and skilled trades training hubs, and $4 million to cover the cost of installing fire sprinkler systems. The Dayton International Airport and Sinclair also requested $250,000 for an aircraft mechanic training center, which was fully funded, unlike some other local projects, including a $5 million request by the city of Dayton for Day Air Ballpark, which only received a tenth of that. Well, there's a new local government entity in town, or towns rather. The Wright-Patterson Regional Council of Governments came together recently and is made up of 6 communities: Dayton, Beaver Creek, Fairborn, Riverside, Huber Heights, and Bath Township. The council will have powers similar to Ohio municipalities, including making purchases, passing zoning laws, and establishing tax increment financing districts. U.S. Representative Mike Turner helped secure $1 million in funding for the creation of the council, which is aimed at improving the lives of U.S. Air Force members around the base. The council is composed of members who are local city managers or other high-ranking administrators in their respective communities. Well, this next story brings back some uncomfortable memories I have, being a former Dayton Power and Light meter reader years ago, but apparently Dayton ranks 22nd in the country for dogs biting postal workers, with 18 postal worker dog bites happening last year. Ohio itself actually ranks 3rd in the country as a state for dog bites, with Columbus coming in on top with 31 letter carrier dog bites. So please make sure your dogs are taken care of properly. I can attest from personal experiences that it's really not fun getting bit. Well, if you're lazy like I am, although possibly have more disposable income, then there's a new local business that will come to your home and pick up your clothes and wash them and return them to you. The business is called Tumble, LLC, and it was started by Miami University classmates Jeffrey Caldwell II and Charles Wheeler III. The new business recently received a Better Business Bureau Award, the Spark Award for Entrepreneurship, which celebrates emerging entrepreneurial businesses whose leaders demonstrate a high level of character, generate a culture that is authentic about its mission, and genuinely connects with their community. The business is partnering with local laundromats to help cut down on their overhead, and to schedule a pickup, you can visit tumblego.com. And finally, while not exactly news, it was noted in an article by my friend Alexis Larson in a Dayton Daily News article last week that it's patio season again in Dayton. So here's some great places to visit that have great patios where you can grab a drink and something to eat. In the Oregon District for food and drink, you've got Blind Bob's, the Dublin Pub, Tie 9, Lily's, WheatPenny, Salar, Franco's, and Trolley Stop. If you're just looking for drinks, however, Belle of Dayton's Van Buren Room is a great place to visit as well. Outside the Oregon District, but still downtown, there's Table 33, Mudlick Tap House, Dayton Beer Company, which has a cool new rooftop bar, Old Scratch, Jimmie's Ladder 11, 5th Street Brewpub, Coco's Bistro, and Basil's on Market if you want to have a cool view of the fountains. A little further outside of downtown, and you can check out Angie's Firehouse Tavern, Carmichael's, and Slyder's as well. That's it for your local news, but now here's what's happening tonight, this weekend, and beyond. Well, one thing happening all weekend is the celebration of Toxic Brew Company's 9th birthday. Events kicked off yesterday with a special tapping of their Bubblegum Blonde and Coffee Belgian Golden Ale beers. Today they're tapping their Melon ISO Heaven, and tomorrow they're tapping their Mango Magnum Hop PIPA. Also there will be Chef Dane, and on Sunday you can hear music by Cooley the Curator. Toxic opens at 2 p.m. today and noon on the weekends, so happy birthday, Toxic. Well, tonight, June 10th, the St. Helens Spring Festival is kicking off from 6:30 to 11 p.m. at the St. Helens Parish on Granville Place. The event continues this weekend and features rides, food, a flea market, beer garden, and more, and is free to attend. Also happening tonight at the Levitt Pavilion, the New Respects will be performing a free concert from 7 to 9 p.m. Their music features danceable fusions of pop, soul, and rock music, and they recently released an MP entitled Don't Panic. You can keep the music going by visiting Blind Bob's afterwards, starting at 9 p.m. for a show and EP release from Bribing Senators. The EP is called Triple Imperial EP, and the show is called 5 Years for 5 Songs. Well, famed astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson is also in Dayton tonight, Friday, June 10th, where he'll be performing a show that discusses what all of your favorite science movies get wrong. Tickets range in price from $55 to $135 and are available at DaytonLive.org. This Saturday, June 11th, from 4 to 9 p.m. at the Riverscape Metro Park, the 3rd annual For Dayton by Dayton Festival is taking place. There will be music, including an opening act by Mike Bankhead, who was a guest on this show back on episode 21, so check that out too if you haven't already. Rapper Kay Carter is hosting and headlining the event. Well, the Dayton Masonic Center is hosting a comedy event fundraiser tomorrow starting at 7 p.m. that will feature comedians Caroline Rhea, Craig Shoemaker, and Cole Cosby. Tickets are $35 online or $40 at the door. Rhea was in the show Sabrina the Teenage Witch, and Schumacher has appeared on Parks and Rec, and Cosby is a comedian out of Philadelphia. Visit DaytonMasonicCenter.org for ticket and show information. Also going on tomorrow, Saturday, June 11th, is the St. Anne's Hill Garden Tours. The event features a self-guided tour of St. Anne's Hill homes and gardens that goes from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. If you're going, visit the old St. Anne the Tart building at 1501 East 5th Street to start. The tour is $17 and your ticket gets you into the Tea Garden, which includes a selection of drinks and refreshments. And if you miss it, you'll have to wait for another 2 years because it's only a biannual event. For tickets, search for St. Anne's Hill Historic Society on Eventbrite.com. Well, also on Saturday from 11 a.m. to 1, you can participate in the Ethnic Cheese and Dessert Workshop at Evans Bakery, which is being put on in partnership with the St. Anne's Cheese Company, who I had on the podcast as well recently on episode 27. This workshop will highlight Turkish cheese, and the tickets are still available for $29 at stannescheeseco.com. Or if you have more of a sweet tooth, you can also on Saturday go to the downtown Dayton Library location where you can participate in their Frequent Chocolate Eater Chocolate Eating Series. For $25, you can learn about single origin craft beans and, of course, taste some chocolate. And if you're really hungry, you can actually do the cheese workshop followed by this one because it doesn't start until 2 p.m. and it goes until 3:30 p.m. Visit eatmorechocolate.eventbrite.com for tickets. Well, if you're into bourbon and cigars, you may want to visit the Patterson Pub on Saturday evening, where for $50 you can participate in their blind bourbon tasting, which includes 5 pours, 3 mini cocktails, and a cigar. Visit facebook.com/PattersonPubDayton for ticket information. Or if you're more of a wine person, you can visit Front Street, where there's a wine tasting and art fest going on Saturday the 11th from 5 to 10 p.m. Tickets are $25 beforehand or $30 on the day of the event. You get 10 2-ounce samples and a souvenir wine glass. Alexis Gomez will provide live music, and Condado Tacos will be there as well. Visit frontstreet.art for more information and tickets. And finally, if beer is more your speed, head over to the Liederkranz Turner German Club for their bi-weekly beer garden event, which is going on from 5 to 10 p.m. Then on Sunday from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m., the Dayton Jewish Cultural Festival is going on at Temple Israel on Riverside Drive. The event is free and open to the public and includes traditional Jewish food, entertainment, and the Oive 5K and Chai Challenge. Also happening Sunday, the Dayton Jazz Festival is returning to the Levitt Pavilion on Sunday from 1 to 9 p.m. There will be some great performers as well as food and merchandise vendors. Visit levittdayton.org for more information. Another Sunday event is taking place at the Paul Laurence Dunbar House from 2 to 4 p.m., where the Dunbar Literary Circle will meet as they do every second Sunday of the month with Omope Carter, Deboiku, wordsmith, and international storyteller. The event is free and open to the public. Next Monday at Toxic, there's a special trivia event, which is 90s trivia with Luke, Ash, and Kenny. You can join for 3 rounds of 90s-themed music, movies, and TV questions starting at 8:30 p.m. The winners will receive prizes, and there are drink specials going on all night. Later that week, on Thursday, June 16th, you can visit Salar, which is hosting a wine dinner. The all-inclusive price is $89, which gets you 5 wines paired with 5 separate courses. The dinner begins at 6 p.m., and you can get tickets at SalarRestaurant.com. Also happening next Thursday, Chicago native Isaiah Sharkey is performing at the Levitt Pavilion from 7 to 9 p.m. Isaiah's third album, Black Messiah, won the 2015 Grammy for Best R&B Album, so you won't want to miss him. The Loft Theater has a new musical, My 80-Year-Old Boyfriend, which is based on a true story inspired by the original performer of the musical, Charissa Bertels. The cost is $17, and you can purchase tickets at DaytonLive.org, and the showtime starts at 8 p.m. Well, if you're a Dayton Celtic Festival fan like myself, you'll be excited to know that there's a bit of a preview coming to the Levitt Pavilion next Friday, June 17th from 7 to 9 p.m., where We Banjo 3 will be performing. The 2 sets of brothers from Galway, Ireland and Nashville, Tennessee play a combination of Americana, bluegrass, and Celtic-inspired music. Also next Friday, the Dayton Philharmonic is celebrating Juneteenth and the 150th anniversary of Paul Laurence Dunbar's birth at their Juneteenth celebration at the Schuster Center at 8 p.m. Ticket prices range from $5 to $85 and are available at DaytonLive.org. There's another Juneteenth celebration in the Oregon District next Saturday as well, starting at 11 a.m. and going until 2 p.m. There you'll find family-friendly festivities as well as a number of local Black-owned food trucks. And finally, on Saturday, June 18th from 5 to 9 p.m., there will be a Juneteenth celebration at Levitt Pavilion featuring artist Mumu Fresh, a Grammy-nominated Indigenous Music Award-winning musical ambassador for the United States. Well, that's it for your weekly news roundup, and if you'd like the transcript for this episode, please visit my website, discoverdaytonpodcast.com. There you can also find a link to the Discover Dayton merch store, as well as links to all of our socials. Currently, the podcast is on Facebook, Instagram, Tumblr, YouTube, and LinkedIn, so if you're on any one of those, please follow us there. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to leave a review and share it with a friend. Thanks so much for listening, and stay funky, Dayton.